I have another show focused on people who have decided to take an alternative route to supporting themselves through cancer. First of all, I have the most amazing international speaker and travel photographer, Keith Hern, who is on explaining his personal treatment plan last year and has come back to give us a further update on his journey through cancer. Then the second interview is with an inspirational lady called Beata Cinkler, who is using the Joanna Budwig approach to change her health picture for the better, who is here to inspire you to try a different dietary approach. I want you to know there are people out there not always just taking the usual medical approaches and who are getting good results, and I want you to know what they are doing. So today I welcome Keith Hern, international motivational speaker and travel photographer. How are you today?
Hi Deborah, yeah, thank you very much. I'm fine, thank you very much.
I hear you've become a motivational speaker since we last spoke. Tell us more about what has happened to you since we spoke last July.
Well, the speaking bit actually started a long time before that. That started back in 2010 and was inspired by a testimonial I got from one of the readers of my book about cancer, Bangers and Mash. And the testimonial was so powerful, I thought I've got to do more with this. And that coincided with actually the first time I'd really done much in the way of speaking, which was purely by chance. I was on a photographic trip to Zimbabwe, a promotional trip to Zimbabwe as the photographer, and ended up being interviewed on TV and radio out there, and then asked to speak at the Sanganai Tourism Conference in Harare. And from that, I got back home, and the lady that was running the trip from the Zimbabwe embassy said, we'd like you to come and do that talk. We've got a big event at the embassy in the middle of World Travel Market. So I said, yeah, right, I work at World Travel Market, no problem. So I ended up speaking in front of 350 people. So then I realised that, yeah, I could do this. And rolling forward a couple of years, I got involved with a group called Inspired Life, where I do some educational work in schools and what have you. And so that goes on. Schools in Bedfordshire at the moment. So that was another one. And it's kind of grown from that, really. And the biggest audience to date was last November in something called Entrepreneurs Circle, and they have a national conference, and I've been chipping away at trying to get a speaking slot, and finally achieved it in November. I spoke about 15 minutes, and much to my surprise, and I think everybody else's, I got a standing ovation from 700 people. So that's just inspired me to take it further. And I've got numerous discussions underway at the moment, some places like cruise liners and the Royal Geographic Society, and some speaking agents just joined the Professional Speakers Association. So quite a lot happening there.
Wow. So, unfortunately, your cancer has returned now, hasn't it? And you've been diagnosed with a tumour in your lung, which I'm really sorry to hear about. Can you tell us a little bit more about what's happened?
Well, since it was diagnosed August last year, I was told that that's what it was. It started, I was actually up at a photographic 2-day event at Aberystwyth, and standing at the bar one night, and suddenly got this just horrendous chest pain, and adjourned for the evening, said I'll see you all tomorrow. Took myself off to bed, couldn't get to sleep because it was too painful to lie down. So it come about 7 o'clock in the morning, so I'll take myself down to hospital, and just about made it to A&E before collapsing. And I was in the middle of the morning, they ran tests, and they came back and said, oh no, there's slight shadow in your lung, but nothing much. Here are some painkillers. So I went away, and then went to my local GP when I got home, because it hadn't. He came back, wheeled into hospital locally, and they said, oh, you can come back tomorrow because there's a concern about the shadow in your lung, and also the blood test shows you might have a blood clot there as well. So I went back the next day for a CT scan, and they came out and said, nope, everything's fine, because I was going on holiday on the Sunday. You can go on the plane, it's a minor infection, so here are some antibiotics. I had a couple of courses of antibiotics, and then went out for a game of golf with a very old friend, and after 4 holes was struggling to breathe big time. And I thought something's badly wrong, and I kind of knew what it was. So I went to the GP and went through all the tests, and they said, I'm referring you. And 10 days later I was in hospital and said, yeah, you've got a new tumour in your right lung. And there was a bit of a sense of humour failure, because I thought I'd finished with cancer. And the prognosis, they said, well, we can't use chemo or radio because you've had too much of that before. we might be able to operate, but we're not 100% sure, you need to go and talk to the surgeon, or we can't help you. So, as with the second time I went through cancer, I thought, well, I've got to get my own survival strategy together here, and I'll go and see the surgeon as well. Had to do lots of lung tests, and he said, okay, that's good, but we can take the lung out now. I'll take the tumour out, which will involve taking out 3/4 or probably all of your right lung. At which point I said, hold on, I'm rather attached to my right lung, and it all feels fairly stable. So why can't we delay it? This was September time. So got a delay until November. I went back and saw him in November, and he was fairly gobsmacked, I think is a good way of putting it, when he saw that the lung functionality tests were, there'd been no deterioration in the 8 weeks, 9 weeks since the previous one. In fact, it improved slightly in a couple of places. So I was able to get myself another delay until, in fact, last week before last, 10 days ago. That was particularly lucky because I'd had a gap in the diary, and in between times I'd received an invitation to join a US media trip to South Africa and Swaziland, so I was able to slip that into the diary in December. So I went back to the scan 10 days ago, and last night I was up seeing the consultant to assess the results. If any of you have been for scans, I'm sure you have, you know how nerve-wracking it is when you're going to get the results, because you've really got no idea, and your brain plays some terrible tricks on you on the way. So I was a bag of nerves all day yesterday, and got there, and I know the consultant really well by now, and he goes, right, the results. Well, there's been absolutely no change at all, Keith. And he produced one statistic, one of their little measures, which I must look up and see what it is, something called an SUV, that had actually reduced a bit, which I latched onto being a positive, obviously. And he said, look, don't worry about that, because that's minor, it's not enough to make any difference. But he said the biggest thing from his point of view was there'd been no other tumours had recurred. So I said, well, I'm kind of majorly relieved. And so what would you have expected? He said, I would have expected a significantly worse picture. So I said, that's kind of neat. So I'm getting quite excited by now, thinking, good, you know, I'm not going to be sent down to be told I'm going to be chopped up again. And so I said, so what do you recommend? I get on with my consultant really well. I've been seeing him for 6 years now. And he said, well, you remember last November I got quite sort of churlish and short with you and said, go and have it removed. I said, yeah, I remember that. I went down to see the surgeon and decided to ignore your advice. So what are you advising this time? And he said, and we were smiling by this stage. He said, I'm going to advise you to go and have it surgically removed. So I said, Kevin, you know that's not going to happen. I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll continue with what I'm doing at home, and I'll come back in another 10 weeks or so, have another scan, and then we can have another look. And he said, well, there's risks involved. I said, yeah, I know there's risks. I know that all the time. There's quite a risk in having the thing in there in the first place. But I am absolutely determined to get through this with all organs intact. So I'm going down that route. And he said, yep, okay, I'll run with that. See you in, whatever it was, 8-10 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's where we are now. And, yeah, so next update will be in, April time.
Wow. So you've put a lot of stuff in place to resolve it this time. You've got amazing spirit, and you are defying the medical establishment. But what exactly are you doing then this time that's different from last time?
In addition to last time, well, the second time I started to do stuff outside of the medical world because of the chance I was given, which was 10 to 40%. And that seemed to have quite a good effect as I came through it all in 6 months. This time, I went firstly, I didn't when I was diagnosed, we'd go back and see my amazing NLP coach, Helen Oakwater, and got moving with her, because it's just, to get your mind sorted out and moving in the right direction is so important. And then one of the other things I did was, second time round, was I had been to see a nutritionist once, and I'd made some dietary changes. And all the other stuff I'd read suggested that what you're putting into your body is really, really vital, particularly when you're looking to fend off some unwanted disease. So I went to see another nutritionist, stroke naturopath, who I'd met through networking, Debbie Walker, funnily enough. And she introduced me to lots and lots of other things, just and run with a piece of analysis equipment that she plugs me into each time called a Sera, which does multiple scans of the body to show me what I'm short of in terms of vitamins or minerals or whatever it may be. And then she suggests all the dietary supplements that are required to put that right, on the basis that the body is more than capable of looking after itself properly, but you do have to feed it the correct stuff in order for it to function properly. So I've been on a range of dietary supplements, from vitamins and high-grade fish oils to lots of green stuff like chlorella and wheatgrass.
Green stuff.
I'm very technical. So there's been plenty of that going on, and also the further changes to the diet. Previously, I sort of cut down a bit on alcohol and red meat and dairy, and kind of left it at that, and cut down coffee. And this time it's gone another stage further, and dairy's pretty much completely gone. I do have the occasional bit of cheese when I go out to dinner, but that's
I didn't know that.
I don't tell her everything.
And you've introduced more resonance work this time, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been introduced to resonance work by your good self. Indeed, yes. And it's fascinating what it does. I get programmed into another piece of kit, Rife technology. And she takes the stuff that's analysed on the serum and programs it into the Rife machine, and effectively programs me. It's a bit like being, I don't know, anyway, computerised non-medical answering service. That's quite right. But you get the general feeling, but it's all, and it just rings true, the resonance side of things. And all I can say is something we're doing is working on the basis of what happened last night in hospital. So I'm not about to stop any of this stuff. In fact, I'm here if she's just given me a shed load more to start saying. But,
I'm making no apologies. I look forward to meeting your surgeon.
I think he'll probably try and take you out. Not as in dating. But yeah, so those are the main things that I also do more in terms of Eastern therapies, I guess. I do yoga twice a week, which I do find really, really helps. Reiki reflexology every couple of weeks. One of those things you've got no real idea if it works or not, but something's working, so I'm not about to stop any of this.
Is it making you feel better though? Often for me, you can never pinpoint what actually is working, but it's the fact that overall it just makes you feel much better and more contented in yourself, and you just know that it's the right thing to be doing.
Well, I do with the Reiki reflexology, I can't really tell. I can't really make it. I mean, the one I really like doing is aromatherapy, but I've got no idea if that helps at all, but I love it. Maybe that's to do with the aromatherapist and how good she is, but it's just a joy. And if you haven't been there, try it. It's fantastic. And the other one I use is acupuncture, which I've once used 20 years ago, or tried to stop smoking, and it hadn't worked. No, that's not fair. Not it hadn't worked. I hadn't been in the right mindset to actually use the willpower that you need to back it up. But this time, so I know the acupuncturist, and I go and see him. He says, yes, it's okay, I can see that all's not well inside. And so start going back initially, and he goes, all right, next time I saw him, I can see this is the beginning, because if you've been through cancer, you'll know how mentally scrambling it is. but then you get to the stage where you start to sort your head out and work out how you're going to get through it. The next time I saw him, it was okay. And it was like you started to put some of the building blocks in place to help yourself through this. And it's kind of, he did say at the beginning, he said, this is not, there's nothing here I can do to cure you from your cancer. He said, what we can do is it'll help you monitor how your body is coping with the changes. So I kind of view acupuncture as my project management system for getting through cancer, if you like. But it's proved pretty effective from that point of view, because things have changed each time I've been to see him and put the needles in a different place. And then about November, he put them all in the same place as the previous time. So I said, I just noticed that. Why did you do that? And he said, you don't need any more remedial work, Keith. Your system is back up to where it should be. And we just need to make sure that it's the surrounding strength is evening and keeps growing. So which was terrific to hear, obviously. Yeah. And he went through to, in fact, I've got to ring him. Reminds me I was supposed to do that. He wanted to know about the scan results yesterday. But last time I saw him was earlier this week. And he said, inside you are functioning perfectly. And he said, your strength is picking up the whole time. You're stronger now than when you first came to see me back in whenever it was, September. So I'm going, yes, this is what we like to hear. So I see him about monthly. So that's kind of a mixture of the different things. I've also been to look at different therapies. There is a group out there. Cancer Options is a website, .co.uk, I think. It's set up by a lady that used to be an oncologist, but she went down the route of thinking, hang on a minute, there is some stuff in the natural world that the medical world's ignoring. So the great thing about Cancer Options is she's got a finger on the pulse of what's happening in both worlds. So she can assess your situation, say, have you tried or thought of this, and this? And when I spoke to her, she introduced me to 3 other things I'd never come across. One of them, I introduced it to my consultant last night, he hadn't come across either, which is, I can't remember the technical term of it, but it's a Dr. Thomas Vogel, V-O-G-L, in Frankfurt, who's got some pioneering stuff that looks very good. And this lady at Cancer Options pointed me in his direction, so I swapped emails with him, mentioned it to the consultant. And then one of the other ones was something called hyperbaric oxygen therapy, which is basically high pressure oxygen treatment. Very, very widely used for the treatment of multiple sclerosis, and starting to be recognised in the States as a possible help for cancer. So, and there's one down the road in Guildford, so I went to try it yesterday. And it's a bit like just going diving, which I used to do. Because as you get in, you have to keep clearing your ears. It's as though you're going down. And you get put in, you're in it for an hour. It's quite a small chamber. And then they sort of depressurise it at the end. And chatting to them afterwards, I said, well, you initially would take 15 sessions as quickly as possible for a cancer patient, and then down to 1 or 2 every week or so. I need to do some more research on this after a couple of comments that my consultant made last night. Although he's in the medical world, our relationship's got to the stage where we can talk about anything and everything, which is great for both of us, because he knows that I'm not going to take everything he says and vice versa. So there's a great deal of respect there. And the other 2 were, the other one was hypothermic treatment, where you raise the body temperature, the idea being that if you can get the body temperature up to, or the tumour temperature up to 42 or thereabouts, it's going to start disappearing. After chatting with the consultant last night, I won't be attempting this at the moment, but it might be for somebody. Mm-hmm. So there is lots of other stuff out there, and Cancer Options is a great source of information.
That's brilliant. Now, how important is your mindset in all this and your belief? You know, what do you now believe about yourself, for instance? How have your beliefs changed?
Oh, the mindset's always known since I first worked with NLP coach, first time I had cancer. the mindset's really, really important. If you've had cancer, been in cancer hospitals, you know you can see people in there who you think, you're just not going to get out of here. And it's probably got nothing to do with the treatment. It's probably got quite a lot to do with the attitude they take. So to me, the mindset is absolutely vital. And even though this is the third time I had cancer, when I was first diagnosed, it's every bit as traumatic as before. And you just think, oh, God, not again, why me? But I am a bit more resilient now, having been through it twice and got myself through it successfully on both occasions. But the mindset is, you've got to get into the positive mental approach as soon as possible. And that's quite big. In fact, slight detour, but cancer is responsible for me becoming an author and a speaker. So it has changed my life big time, and for the better. Where did I detour from? It's always risky doing that. I lose my thread. Where was I?
About mindset.
Yeah, because you asked me what's my mindset now about it now. It's and all the way through it, it's like I am a positive person. I think I'm going to get through it, but as you go through, well, in the previous times treatment, this time there isn't any, so it's all in my own head. And most of the time I'm upbeat and positive, but you always get the what ifs. You always get, oh my God, am I actually going to get through it this time? And there really isn't anything you can do about that, except just try and go and take your mind off on something else until you can get back on a positive set. But if you're doing, there are so many options out there. Once you've decided on those that you want to do and are right for you, and it's you that has to make that decision. If you're not happy with something, don't do it, or go and double check. Like, I wasn't happy with my diagnosis, as they gave me antibiotics, and they knew my track record, and they didn't even consider I had lung cancer. And I wasn't happy, so I went back and said, this isn't right. Same kind of thing with whatever treatment profile you're on. I didn't want, and I don't want the operation, so I'm absolutely determined I'm going to get through this without needing an operation on my lung. Because what's the point in, I've had surgery 5-6 years ago. I had 2 operations to remove tumours in my neck and my throat. And they removed the symptoms then, but I've had cancer twice more, so it hasn't got to the bottom of what causes it. And my first comment to the surgeon when I saw him this time, apart from, I hope you've been warned what I'm like. And he said, yeah, I have. I've been pretty well. I said, good, well, I hope I live up to what you've been warned. My first question for him was, okay, so when he mentioned that's what he wants to do, take the lung out, I said, right, okay, after saying no. What happens if you take the lung out and then I get another tumour in my other lung in weeks, months, years? I said, I'm guessing I'm history. And he said, yep. Okay, so what if I do absolutely nothing at all? How long have I got? And he said, max 18 months. This is now September, so it's pushing 5-6 months ago. And how long has that, what will happen to that lung that has the tumour in it? He said that'll slowly just pack up functioning. You've probably got 6 to 8 months before that happens. So this is now 4 or 5 months ago. So it's like, okay, guys, we're in crunch time. But you have to decide for yourself, and a lot of that's going to be, it would have been easy. Oh, the other thing that happens, by the way, is everybody else pressures you. Family, friends, the lot. Well, if the medics have said go and have it surgically removed and people can live on one lung, we'll go and have it surgically removed. What's the issue? You know, you've got a high chance of survival. I said, yeah, that's not the point. It's my lung. You know, I'm going to make this decision. And suddenly you find yourself taking decisions that are way, way out of anything that you had to do before. Far more important than anything you've had to decide upon, because you're making decisions that could determine if you live or not. But you have to do it. And you have to get your head around the mindset that says, you're going to make the decision, you're going to make it based on what I believe, not what somebody else tells me. And hope is that you're actually making it correctly. So mindset is vital.
So in some respects, you've started to become in tune with your own intuition far more.
Yes, I think you have to. I don't think growing up would be the wrong way of putting it, but I'm taking more responsibility. It is down to you. We're so used to going to see a doctor and saying, I don't feel very well, right, here's a prescription, go and take some more pills. Pills are not the answer to everything, except for the profits of the pharmaceutical companies, strangely enough. But if you start to take some ownership and look outside of that, you can then explore what solutions there are, with the caveat that is be careful with the internet, because there's so much rubbish on it as well as decent stuff. So find somebody that is a potential knowledge base or authority, something like the Cancer Options site, for example, which is based on knowledge, experience, fact, not somebody just creating stuff for the sake of it. I've lost my track again.
It's about intuition.
Yeah, so, and it comes down to, with all that stuff out there, you've got to make decisions, and you end up making, or I end up making decisions that I feel are right for me. They're not always logical. Some people might pull their hair out and say, what are you doing? But I've done as much research as I feel is okay. You're never going to know all the answers, because that's not how life works. You are going to have to make decisions, and they're pretty big ones. But after a while, it doesn't become such a big deal. You know, did all this back 3 years ago and came through when I was given the survival chance of 10 to 40%, as I said. So there's a bit of history there that gave me the confidence to keep doing it. And this time it's just, right, well, you're going to have to do a damn sight more of this to get through. And you do it, because what's the option?
It's interesting you talk about taking responsibility, because, Beata, who's in the other interview, actually talks about exactly the same thing. That in effect, she couldn't hand over responsibility anymore. She had to take responsibility for what she'd done to her body, and then how to actually resolve it.
Well, it is. It's a big deal, because it's so. We're all brought up that if this goes over, there's something wrong, go and see the doctor. They'll sort it out. Actually, no, they won't sort it out. They'll give you something that might address that particular issue, but behind that, there's a reason you got that. And once you've been through something like cancer, you start to realise, hang on, you need to do something to help yourself. And that's when, for me, that's when I started to get realisation more about all the diet stuff, all the non-medical stuff that was available. And then you start to find people that you can trust to work with. But it is down to intuition, and it is down to taking responsibility that it's you that's got to get you through this. And everything that's behind that comment, the implications.
Would you say that that's your biggest learning on this journey?
Biggest learning?
Well, what is the biggest learning that you've had?
I don't know, a vast number of learnings with all this stuff. It's probably been the biggest element to it. I'm not sure about the biggest learning, because of the magnitude of the decisions I'm having to take for myself. Mm-hmm. And then behind that is all the learning that goes with it. And there are times there's so much information out there, you can't read it all. Mm-hmm. You say, okay, I've done enough, I'm going to go down that route because I feel that's right. And just live with the fact that there's another 1 million pages on the web that you haven't even looked at. Mm. And that's fine, because you're never going to know it all. So work with I find working, go to the point where I feel I'm happy, I've done enough research that what I'm looking at doing fits what I think I need to do. Mm. Which is just important. So there are lots of things you learn through this. It's a big learning curve. You learn an awful lot about yourself.
Some of it you want to know.
Actually, most of it you want to know. It's very revealing.
Now, you've continued travelling and doing your photography and inspiring others through your travel photography as well. And I see that you've been using it as a metaphor for living in many respects and living that life in full. So what's next for you?
What's next? Well, yeah, you're right about that, because now I include loads of travel photos in my inspirational talk about getting through cancer, because it's what I do to go and take my mind off things. I'm off somewhere exotic again. Next, right. Yeah, there are some things. I've just started to do, offer one-to-one photographic training for people who are interested in improving their photography. It's an initial just 2-hour session, set to be short, not going to break the bank, and give a few ideas onto what you could do. And if you like it and want more, then that can be arranged as well. So that's new. I've got a new, my third travel photography book is going to be published next month, which is Tuscany and Beyond. The two previous being Zimbabwe in pictures and Guatemala in pictures. An interesting trio, you may think, but you're not far wrong. So that's on the agenda. There's another book about my journey through cancer, second and third time, which is going to give much more of insight into all the other stuff out of the medical world that I've been doing and keeping life ticking over whilst you're going through it all, and the mental approach, etc. On the photography side specifically, I got myself onto this trip last month to South Africa and Swaziland. When I got to Johannesburg, I realised that it was actually a trip. They're all Americans on it. It was a trip to promote African Americans and their interest in travel, and the fact that the travel industry does not actually do anything for them at all. So I sort of said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, have a look at every brochure you've seen, every TV advert, every billboard. Where have you seen a coloured face on them?" And it's absolutely true. So it was a fascinating insight, but they were probably thinking, why on earth is not only a limey, but a white limey on this trip? So that was all quite interesting. It dates back to the lady that was running it, was on the promotional trip to Zimbabwe, or she came to join that, so that's where I met her. And I have a thing that you get a gut feel that some people you meet are worth keeping in touch with, because you've got some contact and you never know what might come of it. And that's what happened, and she got in touch with me. And now I've been approached by somebody to ask if I would be interested in running a photo trip to Zimbabwe, which of course I am. And I've currently got discussions underway with people out there and embassy officials, because there's, as you guess, a little bit of red tape to understand first. So that's underway. There's also, I just started up similar toe in the water inquiries in Swaziland, both of which are hugely entertaining places to go to, and take everybody out of their comfort zone. So there's that going on as well, and the travel photography talks, possibilities of giving lectures on cruise ships and various other places. So yeah, there's quite a lot going on the photography front.
So basically, cancer hasn't stopped you from carrying on with your life at all. In fact, it's kind of driven you. It's
very, very weird to say this. But it has proved a huge catalyst to kickstart areas that I would never have got involved in before, and also given me, I think, a belief that, if you can get your body through this, why don't you start applying that to things you actually like and are interested in, see if you can do the same there. Wow, how radical is that, eh? And then see if you can't make a living doing what you love doing. Okay, sounds like a good move to me. So yes, it has.
I think that's a great way to end it, to be honest. Can you give the audience your details of how they get in contact with you to actually continue being inspired?
Yeah, my lots of ways of getting in touch. The website is keithhern.com, which is KEITHHERN. I write a blog, which reminds me I need to do another one, keithhern.com/blog, and that tends to be a combination of mainly travel photography, but also interspersed with the weird and wonderful stuff I'm doing on the cancer front. I've got a YouTube channel, which is Keith Hern Photography. There's a got a lot of stuff about to go up on that, on the various types of dealing with cancer. I've got another website where all that material is, which is journeythroughcancer.co.uk. I'm just starting to talk about putting together a website purely for the speaking, which is under early stage discussion at the moment. That won't happen for a few weeks, but that will be coming. Email is keith@keithhern.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Keith Hern, or Facebook or LinkedIn. So most of them really. So have a look, get in touch.
And occasionally I post bits and pieces from Keith as well. So you'll see that on TNS. Keith, it's been fantastic. Thank you very, very much for coming on and inspiring everybody on Food for Thought today.
Thanks very much. Pleasure.
Brilliant. Cheers.
My next guest today is Beata Cinkler. When I met her, I was astonished and inspired, as I often am, by the sheer resilience of the body and the ability it truly, truly has, even to overcome the most incredibly deep health pictures. And she looks better than ever. She looks more fantastic than some of the less ill clients I actually have on my client list. And she's got cancer currently. But I wanted her to come on my show today to actually talk about her dietary approach and other approaches that she's actually taking, that she's chosen to actually move through while she's supporting her cancer and the allopathic treatment that she's actually having. So, welcome, Beata.
Thank you very much.
How are you today?
I'm okay, thank you, and thank you for having me here.
You're very welcome. It's absolutely my pleasure, if I'm honest. And I truly am. You know, whenever I meet you and I hear stories about how people are supporting themselves with cancer, you are one of those people who kind of have my jaw on the floor. And I just wanted so much to get you on the show to actually talk about what you're doing and how you're doing it, because you're truly one inspirational woman. And I put on my Facebook page just recently Keith's story, and you're another person who, I am truly blessed to be working with people like yourself, because you remind me every day how the body has the ability to just turn itself around. So, it's truly my pleasure to have you here, Beata.
Thank you very much.
So just give a little bit of a background about yourself and the journey that you've been on to this point.
I went home for a holiday. I'm from Serbia, and in June I went home for a holiday, and I have a bit of discomfort in my abdomen area. So I went to see the doctor, and one thing led to another, and I had some tests, and after only 4 days of examination, they discovered that I have ovarian cancer, stage 3C, advanced level. And it's grade 3. So after 3 days of the diagnosis, they did the emergency operation, and basically that's where it all started. I didn't know anything about cancer, about ovarian cancer especially, and I was lucky that my partner John and my sister Chilla, they started researching from the day of my operation. When I came back to England after 2 weeks, I started chemotherapy. I had 6 cycles. The CT scan shows that there might be still some cancer left, so they are going to do another operation end of February just to investigate. And that's the background of the cancer.
So your chemo 6 cycles must have been taken quite a toll on your body.
Yes, it taken quite a lot out, yes, because my blood count was recovering very slowly and quite badly, so I needed some other support as well. But I combined I started the alternative treatment as well, as talking to oncologists is not very helpful and not very inspiring, because they just basically bluntly told me that I have 2 years to live, and I have 8 years if I'm very lucky. So I did accept the conventional method, and I'm taking the chemotherapy and the operation. But I decided that I have to look at alternatives, because that I need to combine it because I have to give myself a better chance.
So what were these alternatives? Because I do know that you and your partner have done a massive amount of research. I've never, in fact, I meet very few people who have actually done quite so much research as yourselves in this kind of arena. So what tell me about some of that journey there in regards to the alternative side of things that you've discovered.
Well, there is such a huge amount of information out there. And we started, as I said, from the day of my operation, and as soon as I got better, I joined them in the research, and it's an ongoing thing. It's every day we are finding out new things, and I decided on the Budwig diet, a Budwig protocol. It's not only a diet, it's a protocol, but every day we are learning new things, and I'm altering my diet and my lifestyle and seeing if I can add something which could help. So it's an ongoing thing. But the basic thing is the Budwig protocol, which is basically that in the morning I have a sauerkraut to start my digestion. 1 hour later I have 1 pint of warm water, which is followed by 2 liters during the whole day. And then I have a cup of green tea or any herbal tea to start the digestion, to help the digestion as well. And then I have a shot of freshly made wheatgrass juice. And then the main thing is in a Budwig diet is the mixture of the flaxseed oil and the cottage cheese. So I did take out all the dairy products and meat, sugar, processed food from my diet, because that's proven that it helps cancer to grow. So that's why I put it out, apart from some of the hard cheese, which has some cancer-fighting properties, and the cottage cheese, which when it's mixed up with flaxseed oil, it loses its dairy properties. So I mix that up, and then I add some ground flaxseed, berries, lots of nuts and seeds. So that's the breakfast, and the same thing is happening in the afternoon. This mixture has to be taken twice a day. And then lunchtime I have a fresh salad with some steamed vegetables. So basically my diet is 80% raw food and 20% of cooked food. And I have some grains with a lot of spices and herbs, because they have a lot of cancer-fighting properties as well, and some beans occasionally. And then I have in the morning, mid-morning, I have a big vegetable juice, like beetroot, carrot, celery, greens, so I'm mixing them up. And I have in the afternoon another vegetable juice, so I'm altering and changing, like a green juice or a beetroot one, carrot, pepper. So I'm mixing all the vegetables, and I used to follow recipes, but now basically I'm just thinking, oh, this would be going well with this one, or I'll just put a bit of this one, and I have almost a pint in the morning and pint in the afternoon. So that's my diet.
Wow, that is just, how different is it from the original diet that you had?
Well, my diet wasn't very good before. I did have few vegetables, but I did stop meat about maybe a year ago. But I had the old one. I didn't put it out completely. But I had lots of sweets. I loved sweets, so I had a huge amount of sweets in my diet. And of course, coffee on an empty stomach. I have to admit that coffee is the only thing that I'm still struggling to put it out of my diet. I know it's a bad thing, but that's my only thing that I'm really struggling. The rest, I cleared everything out, and I'm sticking to the diet.
Now, many people will just think that that's a hugely radical approach, and to have taken with your diet. But what are the changes that you've really seen in your body from doing it?
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, even though I have cancer at the moment, I mean, all my family and friends, they said that I never looked better because I'm eating so healthy and drinking all that 2.5 liters of water. My skin is wonderful. I feel better. I'm full of energy. I feel much, much better, and I look, I think, better because of all the healthy stuff that I'm putting in.
I have to say, Beata, you do look absolutely fabulous every single time I see you. I truly think so. Sometimes I think I should be taking lessons from yourself. So just tell me some of these herbs and spices that you're taking through the day so that some of my audience know the other things that you're putting in.
Well, the herbs and spices are like the turmeric, which is really, really wonderful and great for cancer fighting, but has to be mixed up with black pepper, so it can be used up with the body. Cinnamon, ginger, garlic, cayenne pepper, dill, mint, parsley, rosemary, thyme. These are all very good cancer-fighting herbs and spices.
Wow. And you talked about some other lifestyle things, because I know you've done a massive amount of research. So what are the other lifestyle things that you've introduced into your, to actually support yourself?
Yes, we did, because the wheatgrass, for example, that I'm taking, that's not in the Budwig diet, but I researched a lot how good it is. Then I added SCX tea, which I'm having in the evening, which has very good cancer fighting properties. I'm doing rebounding 8 minutes a day, because just like shaking the inside of all the inside organs helps as well fighting cancer, and it's very healthy. That's the same thing as they said, laughing is very healthy because you are shaking the inside organs, and rebounding does the same thing. As well, I started soda bicarbonate because that gives a good alkaline environment in the body, and cancer doesn't like alkaline environment. Then I'm taking detox baths. I changed the water filter, so I'm having filtered water, as well as filter on the shower and on the bathtub. So I'm having showers in clean water. As well, I added Chinese herbs. So all these things, quite a lot. And I changed all the toiletries into the natural ones. I'm still trying to find some good ones, but I'm not using any perfume or anything which is not natural. And I changed the cleaning products as well. They are all more natural ones.
Do you feel that you've been on a journey with all this?
Oh yes, it's a massive journey. And it's an ongoing thing because it's never ending. There is always something to do, always something to find out. And as well, because with the Budwig protocol, you need to do 45 minutes of walking outside to get some fresh air and light exercise, then half an hour to 1 hour of meditation, because the stress level is one of the things that cause cancer, and I'm pretty sure that was part of my problem. So I started even NLP, so I can help to reduce my stress level and change my mindset. And the sunlight is really important. And because we are in the UK, I don't get as much as I would need to because of the vitamin D, which is very important with the cancer fighting. So I even got a UVB lamp, which I'm doing every second day for 5 minutes to boost my vitamin D level so I can fight cancer even better. Yes.
No, carry on. Have you got more?
No, and I'm doing coffee enemas twice or 3 times a week, which helps for detoxing and support the liver as well.
That's fantastic. What do you think has made the biggest difference to you?
Well, I do know that my cancer happened because of my diet, because of my lifestyle, and my stressful approach to life. So all these 3 things are of most important and needing to be addressed. But the support that I'm getting from my partner John and my sister Chilla are the best thing in the whole fight, and I could not have done that without them. And the support of the people I'm getting around as well is just amazing. How I'm meeting new people who are meant to meet because they are helping me to go through this.
Now, what you've kind of said there is that you've taken responsibility, and you've clearly said that it was your lifestyle and your mindset that to a certain extent has actually created this illness. And a lot of people won't see it like that. A lot of people will see that cancer is something that's happening to them, not because of what they've done, but it's just happening. And yet you've taken responsibility. How did that feel to kind of do that? Because that's a very different mindset than a lot of people have.
Well, it was difficult in the beginning because the easiest thing is to blame somebody else. And of course I did that. I did the same thing in the beginning. But after reading a lot about everything, all the cancer things, all the things that are out there on the internet, reading books, going to the NLP, talking to people, you realize that if the person leads a healthy lifestyle and with a good mindset, cancer doesn't happen. So you do have to done something wrong, and you have to discover what that is so you can change it. And if you take responsibility and you know that it's up to you, that's even better, because then you can change it. If it's up to somebody else, then you can't change it really. So it's better if you take the responsibility and then start doing something about it.
Now, if you were to give my audience just one piece of advice that you've truly learned and truly taken to your heart that would make a difference, what would you say? One thing to them.
I think the main thing is just the stress level and the diet. Of course, you can't take everything out, and until you are in my shoes, if you don't have the illness, it's very difficult to make a decision. But just lead a healthy lifestyle and as little stress as you can, because the stress level and the diet, it's amazing what it can do, but on the other hand, it can do wonderful things.
Beata, it's been absolutely my pleasure to have you on Food for Thought today. You are a truly inspiring woman, and I hope that people in my audience take just a little piece of what you've talked about today, because, Beata, you do look absolutely fabulous on it.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for having me.
Hi everybody, how are you all? I love the fact I can play my favourite music. I was just thinking when I had the Damned on New Rose, it just reminded me of when we trashed the Apollo in Manchester, because that's basically what every single Damned concert, they just trashed the place. It was hilarious. I can't imagine that the Apollo thought it was great after having the Damned there every time, but we thought it was great fun. I remember those times. And the Damned, I just remembered, it was either David Rainian or whichever one of them, or Rat Scabies, drove a Hearst. That almost ran me over in Heaton Chapel in Stockport. Cool, I know how to live. Anyway, how are you all? It's Saturday, Food for Thought, and I've had some inspiring people on already, really, with those interviews. So I hope you enjoyed them. I thought I'd get both Keith and Beata on to really, with Keith to show you the journey that he's taken since we spoke, and then Beata in regards to
what she's actually put in place, which is just phenomenal to actually resolve her health picture. And both of them have done that. And I just really wanted to share it, if I'm honest. So let's see who's in the chat box with me. So I imagine Alan. Is Alan around? Let me see. I can't see Alan. What's happened to Alan? Alan's always here. Do you think Alan's on holiday for a change? Wow, Alan's not here. I'm stunned. Alan, if you're there, he's got nothing being posted. I'm stunned that Alan's not around. Blimey, can someone send a search party out for Alan and just check he's okay? Anyway, hello to everybody else. So we've got Rich, hello. Ian Alone, hello. Michael, hello. Isn't this your sleeping time? I can't work out what your time zone is half the time. Rich, Laurie, hello. Jim and Lorraine. I never know if it's Jim or Lorraine or Jim. SS with the bust eardrum. My suggestion is that you kind of, well, how did it get bust? That's the sort of question I want. Anyway, pretty chill today actually. So after all that rock music. Anyway, how inspiring are those people? They've had incredible journeys, and they've been through incredible change. They've truly gone on journeys which most people just wouldn't even attempt and don't attempt. They kind of hand everything over to the medical people. One of the key things that really came out of those interviews for me personally was their own beliefs about what they could do to resolve their own health picture. They didn't just take one perspective. They went off to find their own way through what was happening to them. They actually took responsibility. And, this whole... Often we are just given one perspective, as we know, about cancer in particular. And there are many, many routes through that for different people, and it's just not talked about enough. So I thought I would try and air some of it. You have to be careful due to the Cancer Act about what we can say, but they didn't just take one perspective at all. And Rich is saying transformation. I have to say, I absolutely agree. It truly was a transformation for them. And that's why I wanted them to come on, because Keith in particular is just used it to kind of, he's now speaking. He went and spoke on cancer. Now he's becoming an inspirational speaker, which just would not have happened if basically he hadn't have had that journey through that illness. That's what's so phenomenal. And you're absolutely right, Rich. The whole inner self journey that we go on it's our best learning, experiential learning. That actually, if in hindsight, you can look back and go, it was probably the best thing that ever happened. But at the time, it was probably the worst thing that could ever happen. And often that's when our best learning comes, isn't it? When we actually have to elevate ourselves out of where we are. And it can be painful, truly, truly painful. But it can be such a phenomenal change, an experience of change. And it's transformational. So SS is saying sudden loud music, Debs. You're being shot at or something. Someone. So from meditation to mayhem. Yeah. Were you too near the speaker when I put Girl School on? You should know by now that I'm, in between everything is a little bit of rock music. I can't help myself. I'm an indie kid at heart. So just move back from the speakers as it gets to the end of the interview. Anyway, they didn't just take one perspective, which is what's so nice about it. They actually went off to find their own way through what was happening to them. And that is lovely. They searched, and they actually, like Beata and her partner have done such research. I rarely get people who've done that level of research and know so much that it's fascinating to speak to them. Because phenomenal, truly, truly inspiring about their search for the key answer that will work for them. Because it's often, this is the thing, the journey is always different for each person. And this is what upsets me about the medical people at times, because they will have one perspective on this is the only solution for this. This is what we normally do. Actually, that's not always the case. And this is what I'm showing you. Both of these people had very, very different approaches in many respects to what they're doing. And, the dietary changes that Beata's made are phenomenal. And, what some people would consider extreme But actually, when you look at her, she looks absolutely wonderful. You would not consider that she actually has cancer in the slightest. And that is what is beautiful about the whole thing. They've both found their own way through, and it is this whole journey. And that we are all different. Everything I do with every single client of mine is tailored. It's all different. It's not just something that's been mass manufactured and I go, oh, there you go, that you've got this, therefore this is actually what I'm going to give you, because that is what we've designed for that. Actually, it's different for everybody, and that's what's so beautiful about their approaches. And I encourage you to go off and find your own journey through any sort of illness. And they took responsibility. I think that's a key factor in both of their healing journeys in particular. They took responsibility for what had happened and why it was happening to them. Keith has taken on so much change and is so open to trying different routes to resolve the cancer tumour. And it's incredible. It's now changing his life in so many different ways. He took responsibility. He basically looked at it and looked at the bigger picture. And Beata in particular, she says in the interview how she basically looked at her lifestyle. She took responsibility for that lifestyle and changed it. Keith took responsibility and about what he wanted to do and basically has changed these things. The potential people have is astounding for resolving, for resolving these health pictures. The body is just phenomenal at doing that. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. The resilience the body has. It often blows me away. I see people and I'm truly blown away by their ability to heal themselves and the body's ability to heal themselves. It is an amazing piece of kit that we live in and that we reside in for our lifetimes. And it is such a shame that, we allow things to happen to it in the way we do. Because if we didn't, we would just live, our potential would just be amazing. And it's been, these people have, in many respects, been placed into a position where they've had to experience their potential. They've had to push themselves because there was, the other route wasn't particularly going to be great. But why take yourself to that point? We often don't have to get to that point. We just need to often take a cold, hard look at ourselves. But the potential people have is astounding. We are all full of potential. And we have the ability to create amazing change in an instant as well, in an absolute instant. Often people say, oh, you have to go on this whole journey of change. Everything takes time. Actually, sometimes it's not the case. I see people who come, have an issue, we resolve it within one session and it's gone. It's absolutely gone. It doesn't have to keep happening. It's often these times of ill health that, that actually take people on, it's such a beautiful journey. And it's often these times that take people on that. Ill health can stop you in your tracks and truly get you thinking in ways about yourself and what you've done to yourself and the life that you're living in ways that you would never actually assess, never. Because you've had to stop yourself in your tracks. And look back at those tracks and actually go, is that actually the route I should be taking? Ill health, is just the biggest indicator of your life. It's it is a true indicator that, you need to change your life in some way and change it for the better. If your body has got to a point that you've probably been, ignoring indicators for a long time, so it's got to a point where it's in pain all the time, it's in discomfort all the time, it's got dis-ease all the time. Then you've been ignoring indicators that it's been giving you probably for a long, long time. And it's got to that level of pain. Actually, it's probably been telling you, it's a bit like the dashboard of the car. The light's probably been on for a long time. You go, don't worry. Not to worry about it. When I take case histories, I start to track the indicators throughout the life that the individuals has ignored and just carry on with, they've just carried on with those indicators, taken a few painkillers. Oh, I just have this happening. I've had it for years. I don't worry about it. I just take a few painkillers. I just go to the doctor and get a few medications, but I put up with it. It's a continual depletion of the body. It depletes the strength because its body's then under stress all the time. And that stress is tiring. Pain is tiring for the body to have to deal with all the time. And when it's continually treated like that and it's ignored, it finds it hard to function properly. It truly, truly does. And it doesn't have to be like that. You don't have to treat it in that way. It can be really fascinating when I track health, to be honest. When I'm looking at a health picture, it's my favourite bit. I take the care health picture and I can see I'm suddenly making connections between, okay, so it's depleted at that point because of that trauma, and you've done that to it at that point, and then you've lived like that, and you've drunk that, and you've not drunk that, and you've not eaten that, and you've eaten those things right. I can see bit by bit by bit the picture that the individual is actually suffering from now, and why. The symptoms, and I can see the build-up that they've ignored for years and years and years. It's fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And what's more fascinating is then undoing it and then them often revisiting it. That's really interesting, to be honest. So it's truly fascinating taking health pictures. Maybe you should do it yourself, Take your health picture from birth to now and then start having a look at it. Because nothing in your body happens without a reason. Nothing, absolutely nothing. There will have been some action that has led to a reaction in your body and the symptoms that you're suffering from, if you are suffering from something. Most people just ignore it. They go to their doctor and then they say, oh, I'm falling apart. And it's one of those things people will say as like an off-the-cuff thing, oh, I'm falling apart. I'm absolutely falling apart. Like it's just the norm. It's almost like a badge of honour. Look at me, I've got my stripes. I fell apart 3 times during my lifetime. Yeah. I must be there for the Victoria Cross at some stage. You don't have to. They go on and they get the next batch of medications. And that's all about masking the problem. That's all medications do. They mask the problem. Very few medications actually resolve the actual issue that they're there for. All they do is they mask that issue. They probably remove some of the pain, and then they have an impact. And that's what that little piece of paper inside is about. It's about the impacts of that medication on the rest of your body. Great. So it's masked one thing, and then you're going to have lots and lots of side effects. Nice. That makes absolute sense, doesn't it? So, I don't know. Let's go on and see what's going on in the chat box. So chlorophyll is good for alkalizing the body. It is indeed. Lots of chlorophyll indeed. Very, very nice. But remember it's quite cleansing. So at the same time, just what goes in has to come out. If it hasn't got a route out, remember that. That you can actually end up storing what you're trying to get out. So make sure you've got your elimination system open first, so your body can truly eliminate through itself, and then put these cleansing foods in, which would be absolutely brilliant. So, and that was from CC. Thank you very much, CC. That's lovely of you. So, is that it? And Rich is having a bit of a discussion about his computer there. But it can be quite a hard pill to swallow in some respects, having to take responsibility, which is what I was originally talking about, with Keith and Beata. Because, taking a medication is actually easier than actually looking at your actions that have created what you've got. Because it is far easier. It's not my responsibility. I'll go to the doctor and I'll take that pill and mask what's going on. You get less soul searching when you go to your doctor and take the medication route than you do with, going to see someone like myself, because therapists, we hold the mirror up. We make you consider your actions. I do, in particular. I really do hold the mirror up. And, and I will do it in regards to how you're living your life. Look at how you're living your life. I didn't enjoy it. I know my naturopath held the mirror up to me on plenty of occasions. It was just like, patch me up, get me back out of there. She treated her like a paramedic at the side of a war field. I really did. I didn't enjoy it. It was a bit of a pill to swallow for me, realising that actually everything I had wrong with me for years was actually my fault and I was causing it. And I just ignored what was being told me. And then suddenly when I started to address it, lo and behold, my health and my energy came back and I started to feel better. Oh, I've made the most lovely juice. I've not been feeling very well, so I made juice today. about 2 litres so far. So if you're out there and you're not feeling well, get some juice down you. Rich is going grrr. Nice. I'm hoping that's not me, actually, about my juice. But what really stood out for me with Beata and Keith was how they both had the strength to take responsibility. And, you know, many people hand over that responsibility for their health, you know, to others, considering that it's now actually, you know, others have the answer to heal them, and that others will actually deal with it, and that they'll, you know, personally they'll take no part in it themselves. They just didn't take that route. They saw that actually it was their responsibility to deal with it themselves, and that no one else could actually resolve it but them. And it's hard at times to come to terms with that fact. You know, Beata in particular, you know, she says her diet and lifestyle had caused her cancer, and the way she lived it and created it, you know, wow, that's an incredible insight. You know, Keith decided he was rather attached to his lung, and I can understand that in all honesty. And, you know, for me, the medical people, they're very keen to, and I had you know, just recently I was talking about mastectomies, people having mastectomies because they've got a gene which says that they actually might have breast cancer in the future. It's like pre-crime except for breasts. It's just shocking in many respects that, you know, the medical establishment wanting to take parts away from you because you've got a gene. Gene expression changes. It changes when you actually eat and drink something. Absolutely. It's just crackers, that picture. You know, removing part of the body. I see it over and over again. And it doesn't truly remove the cancer because it hasn't resolved the underlying issue of why the individual actually got it in the first place. This is the thing. When you take responsibility, you have to really go back to why you have it in the first place. What has created it? You have to truly look. And it is the inner journey that Rich was saying about in the chat box. You know, there has to be a reason for it creating itself, for toxicity storing in the body, and it's storing in that location. That's where it gets really interesting for someone like myself, in all honesty. I hate to say it, that actually I find illness interesting and how it's manifested itself. Because when I take a case and a health history, my role is to find that reason out about why it's started to store itself there, why it's gone there. You know, then to help the individual to see themselves and support them through resolving that underlying stuff. You know, I look at the cause, not the symptom. And there may be many causes throughout that person's life that have just built up and built up and built up over time, causing extra stress on the body in a variety of areas. You know, Louisa Hay's work is really fascinating in regards to she and a couple of other people I've read over the years. They attach specific health issues to specific parts of the body. And with mindset, so something can have happened, and basically, you know, it will manifest itself in that part of the body. That is fascinating, and I hate to say it, that their work often is quite true. It's highly accurate. Highly accurate. It's just incredible. You know, often when people, you know, come and see me, they will say they don't seem to be, you know, they don't seem to deal with. Will say to me that I'm not dealing with the specific symptom, and that's because I'm busy considering the whole and what the body holistically needs to actually resolve that symptom. Symptom's just one of the indicators that things aren't working in the body. You know, let's get the body working together so you can get that one symptom light off the dashboard. Because it's not about that symptom; it's about the whole body and why it's manifesting in that way. Oh, Rich, you've just said you've got a Mac keyboard. I think you might be about to get some abuse about it being a Mac keyboard rather than a PC. Is this all about about insomnia? So, Mahatma Code, what can you be done about insomnia? It depends what's causing it. It's a bit difficult to actually, without knowing in more detail, Mahatma Code, your health picture, there can be a multitude of reasons why you've got insomnia, and you know, part of it can be down to the fact that, you know, your body's just out of pattern in regards to it's not used to going to bed early and things like that, so it's about retraining it. It can be stress in your life that might be causing it. So there's lots and lots of reasons. It might be something that's you're having in the evening that's then keeping you awake. So that's kind of a drill down on how you live in your life a little bit. insomnia, but medications can keep you awake. Your foods can keep you awake, as well as your lifestyle. So it's lots and lots of different areas. So it can be really powerful stuff to take responsibility and look at your body as a whole and deal with the underlying issues. And it takes massive, massive awareness, because so many people consider that cancer is in their genes, or that they're just unlucky, and that their family have had it, so they are going to get it. And therefore, it's just kind of this thing that happens. And I never believe that. I look at the toxicity in the environment. I look at lots of different factors in regards to the diet, what's happening with the diet, what's happening with how that person's lived their life in many respects, and what is their thinking about, because we are surrounded by lots and lots of fear nowadays. What's the stress levels been like? So I think there's so many different things that we can look at around cancer, the cancer picture. And I believe that the body just reflects the life we are lived, and how we are living it at that point. The potential for change is really amazing, that we have, the body's continually regenerating itself on a moment by moment basis. And this continually means for me that nothing has to stay the same. Absolutely nothing. I truly don't believe that when someone says I can't change, I'm like, in that moment, 10 million of your cells died, and 10 million of your cells were basically created on what you were eating, drinking, and thinking in those moments prior to that. Nothing stays the same in your body. Therefore, you do not have to carry illness forward forever. You can change everything, absolutely everything. Just think about that. All these people that go, you've only got so long to live. And basically, it's because of that then. So 6 months. You know what? In 12 months, 70% of your body can have regenerated itself. So So why would your body keep continually making the same thing? If you can change everything in an instant and put new food in, a completely different lifestyle, and at that moment, then from that moment onwards, in 6 months' time, 30% of your body can have regenerated itself. Wow, come on. Things can change in an absolute instant, absolutely everything if you want it to. But that takes total belief in your potential for what you want to create. What do you want to create with your health? These people that I interviewed today, Keith and Beata, they totally believed they wanted to live a full and happy life. They were attached. So Keith was attached to his lung. He was attached to his body. Thank you very much. And Beata's just, she's bloody minded enough to know that she wants to keep living. She wants to have a happy life, and they deserve it. They've worked hard enough for it. They've taken the bull by the horns and got on with it. Wow. I say all the time, how my clients basically, God, do they inspire me? I am actually blessed to do the job that I do. I am. It is phenomenal to think that, today's word is phenomenal, we noticed. It's phenomenal to think, I've said it about 4 times, how these people come in and they tell me their story, and I think, my God, this is, and they want to get better, right? It galvanizes me into action. It galvanizes me and inspires me and motivates me to keep doing and keep finding out new things about what I can do and how I can do it. I am blessed. I really am. SS wants to know, what can you tell us about free radicals? Well, they're freely going around your body if you've got high oxidation happening, that's when your free radicals tend to happen. So you need your antioxidants in there. So free radicals, if you imagine it like a war zone, and basically you've got one army in there, they're not nice, basically. They're going around and they're damaging absolutely everything, particularly the oils in your body, which is all your cell membranes and your brain and things like that. Your brain is high oils, and oxidation in the body basically damages the body, damages the brain and the cell membrane. So your brain's actually not a cheap date in many respects, and therefore the free radicals, they're creating absolute havoc, and Therefore, you need high levels of antioxidants in your body all the time. And they're like the knights in shining armour. Oh, God. And basically, I've said that numerous times, and that's the first time I ever got that word wrong. They come in like a mop, and they wipe out all these free radicals, basically. So you need your antioxidants in your diet, particularly to protect your oils in the cell membrane in your brain. So there you go. And of course, your antioxidants are in. Well, they're all actually in all food that's uncooked, but you've got your fruit and vegetables is where you mostly find them. So high raw food diet, lots of enzymes in there, lots of fruit and vegetables all the time in your diet. Yeah, everyone's going to go. Is everyone? Oh, Stingray in the naughty book, Debs. Thank you very much. Whatever. I never even turned up for detention when I got it at school. So hopefully that's answered your question, SS, about free radicals. And the thing is with cancer, is cancer picture is lots of the research shows that it's high inflammation picture, and therefore inflammation creates more free radicals and more oxidation in the body, and therefore you've got that happening. And this is why changing your diet to as natural a diet as you can, and a high plant-based diet is often shown to be the best diet to actually support it and to resolve that inflammation picture and to bring it right down. And of course, protecting those oils is absolutely key on the membrane. You really want to have that membrane functioning properly to enable the cell to actually do what it needs to do, which is basically allow it to filter properly, allow it to respire, allow it to eliminate, and allow it to actually break down the molecules that it needs to actually function properly. Your cells are absolutely key. I bring everything back to the cellular picture because that's one I was trained, but also it makes total sense. You are 70 trillion cells, and approximately, and effectively you have to look after them. You have to think about it on that level. What makes a happy cell? And it's that it can actually do its job properly. And processed food dull that down. They basically coat it and they slow the cell down. In basic terms, it cannot function properly on those types of foods. So, let me have a look. What else is going on? Did I recommend a Scot to eat more? That should be a ban. What am I banned from now? I'm not even sure what I'm banned from. Oh my God. The chat room, my own show. Who's going to take over? It'll have to be Nick. Yeah. Let's see how pear-shaped it goes then. Right then, where was I? Anyway, I think I was talking about my clients where they blow me away. They do with their beliefs. And I personally, I look at myself when I work with my clients. I look at myself all the time, and I think, blimey, if they can do that and come from a place where they're coming from, I am truly blessed to be surrounded by these people, because it shows me what the potential of the body is constantly. It shows me that I'm not coming from that place, so why am I not, why isn't my body performing in the way I want it to? Why isn't my energy there? Why am I not bright-eyed and bushy-tailed? It constantly pushes me. I am lucky. I am absolutely blessed to be surrounded by them, and and their energy to succeed. Wow. Listen to both. As someone in the chat box said, Keith has such a nice vibe. Truly does. Really nice vibe. You have to surround yourself with amazing, positive and supportive people. You want, what you want for yourself. So that they've got that vibe, so they can marry it, so that basically they can support you on your journey through this life. They'll inspire you. They love you for who you are and what you are doing, particularly on this type of journey, because when people choose the alternative routes, often their whole families will be saying to them, you are doing the wrong thing, and there's massive pressure on them to actually change that decision. but it's about the individual choosing, coming from their own heart and knowing intuitively what is actually right for them. What do you want to do, be, have, have that spirit in your life. Wow. Oh, apparently you've got a new host. Who's this Bada Bing person? Anyway, I'm sure. I'll be auditioning later. Okay. If you can put a CV together, guys, if obviously looking for a new host for Food for Thought, put it in the PM box, and I'll interview later. We'll see how you get on. Okay. So it's really important who you surround yourselves with. It really is. You guys make me laugh every single week. You make me laugh. I really enjoy doing the show because the chat box just makes me laugh. I end up in such a good mood afterwards. I actually don't feel very well today, but I was, and everyone was saying, "Oh, you need to just go to bed and look after yourself." But I knew I'd feel really buoyant doing the show. I knew I'd feel really good because you guys would just take the mickey out of me, as always, probably in the chat box. So some things never change, huh? Anyway. So I'm busy surrounding myself with lovely people, particularly in my chat box. And you are lovely. I do like you all. I love all the fun that goes on in the chat box. I think it is cracking. But too often, we surround ourselves with people that aren't encouraging, aren't fun to be with, who aren't supportive of us. We do jobs that don't allow us to live and breathe. We don't reach our true potential because we have all this negativity around us. We have all this kind of negative vibe around us, things that don't resonate with us all the time. We have to deal with that first. Actually, we don't, and then we don't eat foods that don't, none of these things allow us to truly experience our potential and move us through a journey to it. We don't hydrate ourselves so we can't make the connections that we need to for our body to function properly. We read and watch things that frighten us all the time, and from truly living and experiencing our lives. But what I'd ask yourselves, guys, whilst you're busy putting a CV together to become the next host on Food for Thought. What is your true potential? Actually, that can be the question you can all answer. I'm only looking for someone to take over who's got true potential. What is it? What does that actually mean to you? Do you even know what it would mean to actually reach your true potential? And Stingray, it doesn't actually include Marmite, catering tubs of Marmite, I'll be honest. Stop and ask yourselves that question. If you were living to your full potential, what would you be doing? How would you be living each day, each month, each year, each moment? Wow. So Rich is saying, how's the pooch? You have seen one in the local dog home. Well, it's not mine, I'll be honest. She's definitely here. She's, as always, asleep behind me. And I'll be honest, my dog is nearly always asleep. If she gets up, I'm absolutely amazed in the day. So, but thank you for asking. I'm sure she'll be very pleased that you've asked after her. And you're going to get a dog too? Oh, you've got to get a lurcher. They're just absolutely brilliant. They just sleep the whole time. I don't know how she puts up with me, if I'm honest. And Nick is saying, Shazee says a few hundred volts of true potential. A few hundred volts? I'm sure it's way, way beyond that. I'm sure he's gone further than any other voltage that's ever existed. I'm sure he's just captured UFO voltage and gone into mega energy. And Shazee is on after me. I'm purely the warm-up on a Saturday. I know that. I know my place, guys. He's on in 20 minutes. And as always, I expect you to be dancing around the living room to the songs that he plays and be prepared to be blown out of your seats. And as I always say about Shazise, it's only a matter of time before he doesn't need the radio. He literally will just be a holographic in your living rooms. And quite frankly, at that point, then you'll know that Shazise has totally cracked it. Bypassing the television and all this media system just to turn up And you'll have no choice, you know that with Shizzy, so he will just turn up. Oh. And Freeman Jack, am I joking? You mean about Shizzy? Oh my God! No, you cannot say that about my dog. You've never met my dog. She's just never conniving. I'm not joking. She manages to run her own empire from her bed. She never gets out of bed, my lurcher. I'm lucky if I see her in the day. If I wake her up, if I'm making a noise, she gets ever so upset about it. Gives me the whole dog look. So, and Captain Stingray, I found another use for the Marmite in the midst of all this snow. I have great tan. I shouldn't read you out, Stingray, because from the moment I read you out, I start laughing. Oh, man. Oh. Is that to go with... How's that going with all the dog hair? Because I'll be honest, weren't you a wolf the other week? That's why we played Werewolf in London for you. Apparently the other week you were running through the fields and the woods as a wolf. Now you covered yourself in Marmite. Isn't that a bit sticky with the hair, I'll be honest? Oh, man. My Marmite is bad for you. There's so many ways, on so many levels, Stingray. I just think it's so bad for you. And now I've got the image of you with a fake tan in my head of Marmite. That's just something I'm hoping I'm going to be able to sleep tonight. In fact, SS, is that the reason why you can't sleep? Oh, was it SS? No, it was Mahatma Coat. Have you been watching Stingray be covered in Marmite? No wonder you've got insomnia. Even I'd have insomnia. I'd be having nightmares. I'm not joking. Yeah, wolf moon tonight, Ray. Yeah, so Rich, don't encourage him, honestly. Oh. Oh God, I've got to get that vision out of my head. Someone put something else in the chat box for me to talk about rather than Stingray covered in Marmite and acting like a wolf. What's up with Marmite? I'm not even going there about Marmite, honestly. I might do a whole show on Marmite at one stage just because I can. I can cover off Marmite. Oh, God. You're never going to reach your true potential, guys, eating Marmite. That's just all I'm saying. Started laughing now. I can't concentrate. What was I saying? It was about reaching your true potential, wasn't it? And it's not only what you eat and drink, it's what you also think. You know, it all creates your reality. And quite frankly, if you're thinking about Stingray now covered in Marmite as a wolf, then that's creating your reality, and it's probably only a matter of time before it starts playing itself out. People say to me about the fact that I don't have a TV and don't I get bored, and I'll be honest, no, not anymore. Imagination is everything, it really is. Oh, God. Oh, no, it could be worse. Oh, everyone's coming up with could be worse moments. He could be covered in honey. I think that might be his dream, but anyway. Oh, man. What are you lot like? Oh, God, I've gone off on a tangent now. Blimey, Freeman Jack, I have had an awful time with lurchers. You know, mine. One day I'll just take a photo of her. She basically has two positions. She's either lay on the left hand side or the right hand side, and you know that's it. Unless she's out, and then she's having a mooch round. But yeah, it's definitely the lurchers that you're attracting into your reality. They're not covered in Marmite, are they, by any chance? And and howling at the moon on a full moon. Oh, Freeman Jack. I actually had a hamster that was called Harry the Beatard. Yes, indeed. How funny is that? Oh, God. It once bit my mother. And it ate the curtains. You wouldn't believe a hamster could actually eat so much of a curtain, in all honesty. I live to regret that. My mother just never let that go. Anyway, I want you to imagine for just 1 minute something other than stingray running through the woods covered in Marmite. I want you to because I want everyone to reach their full potential. I'm trying to carry this on a little bit around full potential, and now all I've got is this vision in my head. Okay. And for me, one of those things that really helped was kind of meditation and imaging what your true kind of potential could be and what the next step for that, for that day might actually mean. What does it mean to actually take one step today towards your full potential and to kind of moving yourself there bit by bit by bit? Because I truly don't believe that the majority of us do. We just accept life as it is. We accept pain as it is. We accept disease as it is. And yet we could be so much more, so much more powerful in our own lives. What the hell would you stop doing that is taking you away from living that full potential? And one of those for me would be the fact that stingray, I wouldn't say that covering yourself in Marmite is helping you get there. And everyone's asking basically now, Freeman Jack, how the hell did the lurcher get in the caravan? Everyone wants to know about the lurcher getting in the caravan. But think about all the things that are filling up your day, that are not conducive for you to be the person you truly want to be. What do you want to be? How do you want to feel? This is more key for me. How do you want to feel in your body? Because most people do not feel at ease in their body. They don't feel happy. They don't feel energized in their body. Where are you? What are the steps that you need to be putting on your to-love list? I hate the to-do lists. To-love lists. How far from the bottom of the to-love list are you? Are those things that are going to make you into an amazing person, that enable you to live your life as you truly want to? Are you even on your to-love list? Or is it just full of other stuff that loads of the time I see that you could just be giving up? In this world, it's just, we fill our lives with all this busy, busy stuff and actually don't bring it back to ourselves so often. The step, the one step, that's all it needs to take. The journey of 1,000 miles started just with one step. How simple is that? You don't have to see the bigger picture. You just have to take a step. It's not too much. It starts with taking responsibility, which is what the whole thing was that they both did. They both took responsibility for where they are and what they're doing. And then it means you have to become more aware of yourself and what you believe. And what you want to believe instead. What do you want to believe instead? What do you want for your body? What do you want for your mind? What do you want for your spirit, your soul, your heart, your health? Nobody else's. You know what? You're only here for yourself. You've only got one body. It's your only true asset. You can't truly experience until you really are well in your own mind, well in your own body, and then well in your soul. And you have to have good health to do that. And Rich is saying on his to-do list now is a walk down the local river without the dog. No, she's here, I'm sorry. She's already been out today, I'll be honest. Anyway, everyone's not to have a to-do list now. Everyone has to have a to-love list. It's a to-love list. Everything on there is what you want to love. You want to love doing. You want to learn doing. You want to enjoy it. How can you love doing it? Fantastic. I believe that when you have a to-love list and when you're doing things you love and you're reaching your full potential, you feel the excitement within every cell. Every cell starts to live it. And it starts to experience its optimal performance. This is what full potential means. It's when you truly experience your body because of the things you're doing. Because if you're not taking full responsibility for making that happen, only you can make it happen in your life. You're not here to live anybody else's life. It's just meant to be for you, and it's meant to rock your world. And you should be feeling that through every single cell. You should be excited about it. Everything you're doing should be, can't wait to do it. You should find enjoyment in everything. You know, think today about how you're going to rock your world and not just let Shazise do it for you. And live it. Be healthy and happy living it and enjoy it. It's what's meant to happen. We're meant to really enjoy it. Because if you're ill, you're not living it. If you're tired, you're not living it. You know, if you're unhappy, you're not living it. And these are indicators that that your body's continually showing you that you've probably ignored for a long, long time. Stop ignoring them. Just stop now ignoring all these signs. Stop suppressing it if you're suppressing it with medications. Just stop it. Review it and see how you can take steps to move yourself out of it. Stop ignoring them. Put yourself on your to-love list and create an action today about what it would mean today to live to your full potential, to take responsibility and to push yourself towards creating amazing change. You know, both Beata and Keith, they did this, but they did it from the darkest of health pictures you can have in our society. But you don't have to experience it like that. You know, you can just sit and consider what living a life for you would truly mean if you were to realise your full potential in this day. You know, what would you have done to create that, to be that person? Just one step's all it takes. And it's just around what you eat, drink, and think. Right then, let's see. What's everybody saying? Is everyone talking about this lurcher? I do think you've not had the greatest lurchers in your life. Blimey, it was a Houdini lurcher. You guys, you made me laugh. Enjoy. You've been lovely to be with today. Hope you've enjoyed the show this week. I wasn't feeling very well, so it's not quite as high octane as normal. Although the music's going to make up for that in a minute. You've all been lovely as always. I've truly enjoyed being with you all. And you're all beautiful beings in my chat box. Carry on being beautiful and rock your own world this week, won't you? Shazise is coming up next. And probably high octane. Absolutely balmy as always. And we're going to have some music. So what should we have? Guess what we're going to have?